What up, y'all? It's your boy Kakash13542, aka Fish93, aka your boy Marlin, your boy YG Piranha, here with another review. We'll be talking about a couple games and a movie this week, and I hope you guys enjoy the following content. I got blessed with doing a survey, and the survey was able to give me $100 Xbox gift card. So I ended up getting Dead Island 2 with that gift card, which was absolutely fantastic. So that'll be the first thing we'll be talking about here. Um, I'll go back and talk about Dead Island 1 and Dead Island Riptide, and I did not like those games. I didn't. They were slow. I enjoyed killing zombies. I did not enjoy how slow the game was to kill zombies. I probably played the game for about 30 minutes, both Dead Island and both Riptide. I both played 30 minutes of each, an hour's worth of gameplay, and that was it. I was just like, this is cool. This is fun. I can't do it any longer. Like it was fun for an hour. That was it. That was the most I could do of those of that entire game franchise at that point. And I had high hopes for Dead Island 2 when they announced the sequel. I was just like, cool, that sounds really great. Like I didn't look into it. I didn't watch any gameplay. I just had high hopes for it. I was just like with all the zombie games that have came out, all the survival style games that have came out since Dead Island, I was hoping that they would play on those formula. We've had a lot of Dead Rising games. You got Back for Blood that came out. You got a couple zombie style games with Call of Duty. So you got things that have hit since Dead Island. So with Dead Island 2, I was excited that I got it for free. I wanted it when a couple weeks back because I got it within the last couple days. So a couple weeks back, one of my buddies told me that they were playing together, and I was like, "Well, I want to play with my friends," and that kind of prompted me to want to get the game. I just couldn't at the time, and then I was able to, get the gift card. So now I'm going to be able to play with my friends, and I've got to the point to where you had to get to a very very early point in the game to where you can play with your friends in this one. It's called like the Calvary or something like that is the quest. But when you get to that point, it says you can just play with your friends immediately or play online. I think that's super cool. You don't have to like progress super far into the game. It's about, I'd say, about 15 to 30 minutes of actual gameplay that you have to do. If you actually choose to like go through the whole side mission house that they prompt you to go past and everything like that. And it's fun. It's comedically fun. It's fast. I only have melee weapons right now, and that's fine. Like you got to deal with that, and but I'm having fun killing zombies. I'm having a rush, wanting to knock a zombie down so I can step on its head and maim it. I'm playing as the female character Amy, and she has a prosthetic right leg, so it's kind of cool seeing her use her prosthetic leg stomp through a zombie's head. So it's fun. I am having fun playing it and knowing that I can play it with my friends. And then when I heard my friends playing in the party and how enjoyed they sound playing with each other with the missions and the side stuff that you could do, I was like, cool, I think I actually will enjoy this one. And I am enjoying it. So solid game, Dead Island 2. Definitely, if you're looking for a new zombie slaying experience of some kind, let alone a new game to play with your friends, here you go. You got it. It's out. It's been out for about 2 weeks now, roughly, I think. So yeah. Um, Next thing we're going to talk about, we're going to transition over to is we're going to talk about my boy Michael Jordan in the movie Air. You got Ben Affleck who acted and directed it. He did a good job directing it. It wasn't a bad movie. Matt Damon, Chris Tucker, um, Jason Bateman, Viola Davis, like really, really good cast. Like I forgot Jason Bateman was in it. Like I remembered everybody else was in it when I went to go turn on the movie, and then I was like, oh, I forgot my boy Jason Bateman was in it. So, and it's just they all played characters that were true to the character, but also true to themselves. Like, they really explained like how they really just bet it all on this one new player that was coming in, and he happened to exceed all expectations and have like one of the greatest, most prolific, probably the most prolific shoe line of all time, and one of the most greatest, just stories in basketball. Like, there are other people that are going to say there are other people that Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, and I'm not going to go into that debate. Personally, I have intense love for Michael Jordan. I grew up with Michael Jordan. I grew up with Space Jam. So, like, to me, he will always be the greatest of all time. Like, that's just who I grew up with. But it's who you grew up with and who influenced you. So I can't, I don't want to go into that debate. But the movie itself was really, really good. I really like that they went into all the people, including the person who like designed this year. They went into all the people that really, really made it happen outside of Michael being Michael. You know, Michael had talent. Michael had the deliverance. Everybody knew that, but not everybody knew what went behind trying to make all the other stuff go on for Nike to be successful with him. Like, you know, I really enjoyed how true they stayed. I did my research and they stayed pretty true with the with what's going on with Adidas and everything else. They did a good job with the movie. Viola Davis did a really, really good job being his mom. She just, you know, just showing the strength of what his mother is, who his mother is, you know. And it's really sad what happened to his dad. You know, if you ever happen to watch The Last Stand on Netflix, you know all of this, and I've seen that documentary multiple times. So it's like I already have knowledge of how his mother and father were in a sense of actor portrayal, and they did a really, really good job in the movie expressing who his mom and dad were, so that you understood them as people. Like you understood, everybody understood who Michael was, but you understood everything, everybody around Michael at this certain point, in his creation of history. So good movie, really enjoyed it. Again, if you're a Michael Jordan fan, definitely recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. Go watch it. Also, I've already seen Dungeons and Dragons. I already talked about how good it was, but it's on Paramount Plus. So if any of you have that, go watch it. I've already seen it two other times because it's such a fun movie. So yeah, just throwing that little nerd ADHD tidbit out there. All right. The last thing I'll be talking about will be Tears of the Kingdom. First off, it's a beautiful game. You know, if you played Breath of the Wild was a beautiful game. This is just as beautiful, if not just a tad bit. You know, there's like it's like a little step up more. Um, they there'll be spoilers that we're talking about, but they definitely made it a direct sequel in a sense of like um Link and Zelda are exploring Hyrule post the first game, and they end up exploring underneath the castle, and they find actual Ganondorf, not Calamity Ganon, not the spirit of malice or anything like that, or Calamitous, like Ganondorf himself, the warrior, the male, the man that actually existed on 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 the physical plane, like. And I didn't know that's who that was in the trailers. I was hoping that it was going to be Sages. I hope Sages is still involved in some kind of way. I really, really want Sages to be involved, but we will get there in the story. Um, but when it comes to the main protagonist, it's Ganondorf. It's actual Ganondorf this time. Your Master Sword gets broke, and you get a diseased arm, and I think it's like 2 years or something like that. That's my assumption of the time jump that's happening. But as normal, Link wakes up with no knowledge of what's going on because it's a reincarnation. As always, it's you know it's always refresh, renew. That makes it a fresh new Link every single time. The powers you have in this one are super creative. Um, the least creative is the ascend power, but you can be creative with what you can ascend through because you can just if there's a surface that's not as long as it's a flat surface and it's not blocked off in any kind of way by like rocks, or if it's blocked by like actual like other surfaces, you can go straight up the surface, and that is it's definitely everything about this game is definitely like okay, like if you had any question whether Skyward Sword was involved. Skyward Sword's involved. You know what I mean? They talk about the Zonite people. The Zonite people were the people who live in the sky. Well, no, 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 no. Skyward Sword. Anyway, you have that one. You have the one where you can fuse weapon items to weapons. So that means you can fuse weapons to each other. You can fuse other items to weapons, um, including like bows and like your arrow can have weapons that have items attached to it to have like bomb flowers and keys eyes, which make homing arrows and stuff. Like it's a lot of fun. It's an absolute blast when it comes to adding stuff to arrows. Adding stuff to shields, I haven't quite experimented because I already like added stuff to my shields and then found out later talking to friends what you could do, and I was like, oh okay, well I'll experiment with that later. But apparently you can make like skateboards and stuff, and like you can add like your fan and stuff like that with the Zonite technology. You can like shoot yourself up into the air and just rocket power, and it's fun. The creativity is fun because then you also have the first power that I got, which was the attach power, which means you can attach one item to another item. Like, so if the arm can grab it, it's called Ultra Hand. If it can grab it, then it can attach it to another item, and the creativity on that with traversal and just building in general for the hell of it is just great. Like, so you can grab stuff that's far away and then attach it and then add weapons to it and then make it powerful and then just like there's a video of this guy having a B-17 bomber like flying around and he's just, it's an absolute ridiculous creative blast. Like that was the one thing they want. I bet you they asked is like, how can we make this a better game? Breath of the Wild is like give the player the creativity to do more. Like you already gonna give us crazy combat. You're already gonna give us this crazy landscape, which is already like going through the islands was nuts. Like you already gonna give us a whole bunch of stuff to explore and find. And I already found everything. I did a checklist, and I was like, oh, good. I already found everything I needed to find. I found all the caves, and I found all the treasures that were necessarily up there. Like if you don't know, definitely go find yourself the pair of greaves because they help out with cold resistance and weather's a big impact in that game as normal. Um, they did a lot better, I think, with the food in this one. Like, I feel like there's more recipes, but I feel like there's more range of stuff that can happen as opposed to just attack and defense. Like, there's more stuff that happens in the weather and stuff like that. So I'm excited about what I'm gonna find because I just made it to the actual land underneath the sky portion that you start. There's the tutorial island you start, and as opposed to like the first one where you start and you get your paraglider and you go from some high place to somewhat a lower place, because it's plateaued. You literally fall from the sky into the water, and once you get all the powers and you open the Temple of Time, you can then use that power inside the Temple of Time, which is the reverse time power. So then you have all four powers you need to be able to traverse Hyrule. There are more powers for me to unlock, which I think is cool, as opposed to the last one. You just got your four powers and you upgraded them, which there was nothing wrong with that. It delivered. It did everything it needed to do. But I am excited that there's more than just the four powers in my slot wheel, allowing me to know that there's going to be more powers for me to find later in the game. Um, yeah, I'm excited more than anything to see for the exploration of this game more than the last one because it's gonna be deeper exploration. I ended up unintentionally spoiling myself because I was like, "How do I find this?" And they're like, "This is the first temple. This is the second temple." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But it was exactly as I predicted to one of my friends. I told one of my buddies, I was just like, "Yo, I bet you it's gonna be a combination of temples and exploration of like small little shrines." Like, and it's exactly that. Like with of course the whole super free roam open world, and then they added more creativity to the open world for traversal and for combat. So it's an absolute step up from Breath of the Wild. Like I know some people might be like, oh, well, it doesn't look like it's a graphically step up. It doesn't need to graphically look stepped up. Most Call of Duty games didn't look graphically stepped up for a very, very long time, and they still delivered great gameplay and great combat. Like, and this game does exactly the same. It delivers great gameplay and great combat, and solid story so far. The story is much more deeper and richer than it was in the first one. The first one, you knew Link was lost and stuff like that, but with them adding the Zona and with them adding like this other character that just helps Link in a sense of like it being a permanent power, not just like this paraglider, but like a permanent like attachment to him. Like, it'll explain when you interact with him more what really happened to him and what went wrong and how strong the I'm trying to think of what his power is. It's there's this weird thing that happens to Link. I can't think of what the word is right now, unfortunately. But gloom is what's happening to him. So it's like gloom, and that's the power of Ganondorf is gloom. It's very interesting how they embody that into this game. He's getting rid of the gloom that like consumed him from the encounter that he had at the beginning of the game. So I'm excited to see how they embolden on that and stuff like that. I'm also excited to see how Zelda's more involved and rumors are you should be able to play as her. I haven't looked into that, but there were always rumors, and I would love to confirm that by playing the game. So I'll definitely give a follow up review once I finish this one. This will be probably one of the few games that I'd give a true follow up review to because I love Legend of Zelda. So absolutely. Um, we will hear from that. Next week, we'll follow up on some more games. I'll definitely follow up with my God of War playthrough. I would like to touch on that and that I did platinum that, but that's for another time. And then we'll see what other new games I end up experiencing. I know that there's the Street Fighter like actual beta this weekend with more characters for me to play, so I'm actually gonna be able to play Cammy and stuff like that, and I'm excited about that. So, and I'll talk more about that next week. So, thank you guys. Stay tuned.